So in the next two videos, I'm going to cover how I made the fireplace and then the surrounding walls and patio. It's going to be two parts because it actually took 2 years. I did the fireplace here in 1 year. This was my first stone building project, so it did take a little while. And then year 2, I did the patio and then the surrounding wall on the outside and the steps and the walk. So I hope you guys enjoy this. It's going to be a little picture heavy because I didn't film anything, but I will try and narrate the whole thing and explain why I did what. And if you guys like it, leave a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks. So a lot of my inspiration really just came from looking at pictures online. I found pictures of round pergolas and patios. I looked at some fireplaces in person, some pre-built ones, a firebox at my brother's house. And then here is a sketch that I did in Excel with an overall plan, just a outer wall and inner wall. The orange is the steps, and the red is the firebox and platform, just to kind of get a sense of scale and try and map out what kind of materials I was going to need. Next up was acquiring materials. So I got 120 yards of tailings from just up the road from my house. There was some new construction going on, and that was just kind of rocks and stumps and all sorts of stuff just scraped off the topsoil when they were doing the new construction. And then it was site work, picking a site in the yard and prepping it, and that's what I've got going on here. Ultimately, I discovered it was very wet, so the very first thing I did was prep for some French drains. That's that extra deep section around the perimeter. And then here we are digging the drainage pipe over to a Conservation Commission mandated retention pond.
And this is why I put in all that drainage around the fireplace. So it stopped raining about an hour ago, but that rain does add up. And just because of the way my lawn is shaped and the grate is shaped, between the septic system and the tanks, propane tank over there, and this is the natural grate around here. I couldn't change this too much, but I could pick up all this water. So you can see the water working its way over to the path here. It is just a giant French drain. Essentially, there's 3/4 stone underneath all of this that is just scooping up this water and taking it away, which is good. You know, I'd love to swale it through there, but I'd be digging up the tree roots. Probably not great for those. But you can see the water that works its way over here. So it's been doing this for about 4 years, no sign of movement yet. So I have a perimeter drain. That's what that brick is around the outside. Scooping up all the water there. Drain under the brickwork here. And then this drainage under the center of the patio and under that walk. So I'm just pulling in all the water and keeping everything from moving and freezing.
All right, and here are those perimeter drains going in. So that's some corrugated pipe and 3/4 stone wrapped in fabric, and then there is more stone going on top of it. And then that's the concrete I picked up, and just me continuing to do the site prep work. I sketched out the perimeter of the fireplace and paint there, and then here I'm building the concrete form for the fireplace. So ultimately what I was worried about was everything moving. So I poured a concrete pad under where the fireplace was going to go. I figured if that all moved as one, if anything ever moved, that would be ideal. But the likelihood of it moving is pretty low. I hit ledge very early on in this process. So 3 out of the 4 of those sonotubes, I didn't get to 4 feet deep. I hit ledge. So I drilled and pinned them into the ground just to give them some extra stability and make sure they're not going anywhere. And I was pretty excited to see what the overall patio shape might be, so that's why I roughed out a couple stones there. And then I did a dry layout of the size of the firebox so I could make sure I liked how it looked. And then I started forming it, picking up more supplies, clay flue liners, And then here I am testing different firebox angles. Ultimately, I went with the wider angle. I thought it would throw more heat forward. And here you can see me just working my way up with those concrete blocks. They are weaved together, and then the core of those have rebar, and then I poured concrete in it. So I'm pretty confident that the firebox is stable at this point. More materials. So fire brick, bluestone, and granite for the lintel. That horizontal piece of granite was the only one I had to call and get help for. Everything else in this project, I'm pretty proud to say that I was able to do by myself. That was just the only piece I couldn't pick up. So for the fire bricks, I did use the refractory mortar, that special high heat mortar for setting the bricks in. And if you're going to do a project like this, pro tip is soak those bricks first. I dropped them in a 5-gallon pail of water before I used them. That keeps the bricks from sucking the moisture out of the mortar. And then, yeah, it helped a lot making everything stable. Then I started working on the hearth, kind of ground up, just like you would any other project. Big stones first, and then the blue stone in front of it. This was, when I was starting to get really happy with the project. It was taking a shape. It started to look a little bit like a fireplace, not just giant cinder blocks in the backyard. So you're going to see a couple of shots of far back. Throughout the whole process, I like to take a good step back and see how everything looked in perspective in the backyard. It really helped guide me in the overall shape of the project and how things looked. If you're working up, I find if I'm working really close to something for too long, I kind of lose a little perspective, so I always like to step back, to view things from a distance, and then keep working from there. So here I am working my way up the sides of the fireplace. That was pretty exciting too, just getting all of that concrete block hidden. And here I am starting the steel support structure. I was very lucky that my brother was able to help me weld this metal frame up. Those are 4x4 pieces of angle iron. I think they were 1/4 inch thick. Way overkill to support the chimney, but it was one of those I never wanted to have to worry about it, and it was just as easy to source that as it was something lighter. So it was basically a steel box that supported those chimney flues and then the concrete blocks on either side. Again, the chimney flues were set in the refractory cement or refractory mortar just to make sure that they're well protected against the heat. And then I kept working my way up on the chimney. So I like to keep things simple. You'll see a piece of furring strip both on the left and the right-hand side of the fireplace, just kind of in different places. I used that as a guide for the chimney shape. I just placed it on a mark on the bottom corner of the chimney and then up against the top cap. And that's how I formed my angle. Just a real simple straight line guide. And then I was very fortunate as well to be able to borrow some staging that's there in the background. That made working on the chimney a lot easier. When I was working on the front half, I was actually just standing on the mantle. A little sketchy, but it worked out in the end. It wasn't too many trips up and down a ladder. And then I did cap it off with a chimney cap and a little spark arrestor there. And then here's the first fire. So the fireplace did draft pretty well, but on a windy day or a breezy day, it tends to pull the smoke out of the firebox, and I didn't love that. So I made this little reducer at the top of the fireplace. It I think dresses it up a little bit, and it reduces the square inch area of the front to make it draft a little stronger. I was very happy with how this turns out. Works great to this day, and I think it protects the granite a little bit. It acts as a little bit of a heat shield. So I hope you guys enjoyed that and found it useful. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'd be happy to try and answer them, and see you in the next video.